All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV Community Focus. And we're counting down to November 6th. That's Election Day, and that's the day where you get a chance to go out and have your say about your government. And that's the whole point of our shows here now, is we're doing our best to educate and inform, let you know who's running, let you know what's on the ballot, and just plead with you to get out and vote. I mean, we want you to vote that day. It's your day to have your voice heard. And one of the races you'll be voting on if you're in the city of Bardstown is mayor's race. We got the current mayor in your eyes with us right now, Mayor Dick Heaton. Mayor, first of all, welcome to the show.
Hey Kenny, good to be here, and thanks for having me.
All right, now you've had a few years at this job, so you know what you're getting yourself into to run for re-election. So, what's going on as a mayor's race?
You know, I look at this as it's kind of a continuation of what I have been doing most of my adult life, and being involved in the community, and both in the private sector and the public sector as elected official. And it was something, I was planning really to probably run this year. When I ran for council 2 years ago. I didn't know that I was going to become the mayor in between, but I felt like that was the reason I decided to run for council, so I could get my hands around what's going on at the city from a financial standpoint and a staffing standpoint. So the fact that I'm mayor now was something I never envisioned at the time. But back to my reasoning, I've served now for 12 years as an elected official, but it also is a culmination of my time that I've served in many other organizations, which is what my father and my mother and my grandparents before me stressed, that communities like Bardstown, they cannot be all they can be if you just wait for government or a hired gun to do it for you. You really have to have the buy-in of the people, and meaning civic groups have to step up, church groups have to step up, and volunteers have to step up in order for a city and a county to get to be all they can want to be or need to be. And that's really where I'm at today. It's just a continuation of what I've been doing now for many years. I enjoy the job, and I look forward to serving the people again if they see fit to elect me.
Well, I talked to a guy the other day, and I asked him about, he's talking about the city of Bardstown. He said, well, so the big thing with Dick in there now says it's calm. He said, that's what I say more so than anything. But in addition to that, I mean, you all have done a lot of stuff. I mean, there have been a lot of projects that's went on, a lot of things that the city's done. And
yeah, that was another motivation. Once that I came back in at the city council level, and then later as mayor, there's a number of projects that are on our plate right now, and I really want to see them through. I felt like that it would be a little disruptive if I didn't run for re-election, and then we would have had 3 mayors in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
And that creates some issues, no matter how good the person would be, of getting their hands around what's going on at City Hall, understanding the projects, knowing the staff. We've worked really hard on getting the right people in the right places. I think we've been able to restore the morale at City Hall, and I think we have. There was a trust factor, I think, out there in the community a few years ago about city government and our relationship with the county and so forth. And I think that all has improved in the last 2 years, and so I hope to continue that going forward.
Financially, it looks like you're pretty sound right at the moment.
Yes, our budget's $57 million, and that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But the simple way to describe that to people so they kind of understand is $9 million of that is our general fund. That's police, fire, streets, recreation, administration, and finance. $9 million. $48 million is really the 5 regulated utilities that we own and operate, and our garbage department. So when you're operating electric, cable, internet, water, sewer, and then garbage, $48 million is almost what it takes to generate the cost of goods sold and the sales of those goods. Because we all know when you turn that switch on, you want your electric to be up.
Hey, I want my cable running.
And cable and internet. So those are very sophisticated businesses, and all of them, including water and sewer, are very capital intensive.
Yeah.
But we're doing well right now financially. We've got a lot of projects We're spending a lot of time right now on upgrading of some of the old infrastructure. We've got quite a bit of money set aside for upgrading water and sewer lines that are in the city. We're redoing the way we treat water at the plant, which should have a very positive effect all over the entire county and all over our market, as well as we sit out here where you are, here on the east end of town. We're working on rebuilding all the sewer and some water that serves this area all the way out to American Greetings. That's it. We're in the design stages of that, which is going to be a very major project, but one that's needed because of growth.
Yeah. Do you think Bardstown's in pretty good shape right now, or do you have some major things you think needs to be? What do you see in the next few years? What needs to be done, or are we okay, or just where we are right now?
Well, back to infrastructure. That's, we've had a lot of growth here in the last few years since the economy has rebounded. We were named by a major publication, Site Selection Magazine, as one of the top micropolitans in the country, which means an area of 50,000 people or less. We've attracted $500 million in new investment and expansions in 2 years. Well, that requires infrastructure. So that's a big thing, but we've got our plans together for that and spending the money necessary to keep up. It can't happen overnight. The growth kind of happens faster than you can keep up in some degree. But the other thing that's going on that I'm enjoying being involved with is there's some strategic planning going on in the community, bringing a lot of stakeholders together, school officials, business officials, retail, elected officials, to get our hands around what is going to happen here, what will be the next economic boom here or whatever. And education and workforce development are the key things there. And we're trying to start at the high school level, which I think is needed, as well as, of course, we know we're working also with some of our colleges for input, because that's the challenge all around this country right now is workforce.
Well, the landscape of Bardstown has changed considerably over the last few years. I know out at the old quarry, you got a new distillery going in, a Kentucky Owl out there, and several other industries either starting up already or getting ready to start up, and even downtown Bardstown is starting to look a little different. So things are moving.
Right. The downtown's strong, but we're going to have we have a few vacant storefronts right now, and I think there'll be a few more coming. But the good news there is that ever since the rebound in our economy, and ever since we did the major streetscape project, that property downtown is in demand now. Yeah. And so when one storefront closes, it seems like another storefront opens back up, and so that's healthy. Our downtown is, really a major attraction besides the economic impact that it has on us.
What's your relationship right now with the city council? Or you possibly don't know who the new city council is going to be, but I mean you've dealt with it the last several years.
Yeah, the council that I work with right now, we I think work well together. I don't think there's a lot of things we don't agree on. However, I think none of them are shy about expressing their own opinion. That's something I think is one of my strengths that I bring when I first got into being an elected official, is that I've been raised in the business sector, so to speak, as a professional. Mm-hmm. And negotiating and building consensus really is something that's, excuse me, something that's, goes hand in hand in the automobile business and real estate. And so I've been in a lot of situations where I've had to sit down with people and build consensus, negotiate, and come to an agreement on major issues and small issues. And I think that serves me well working with the city council.
Well, I know a lot of things goes on as being mayor that a lot of people don't see, and obviously I know you spent a lot of time in Frankfort, and you made a lot of contacts in state mm-hmm. government as well. I know I've talked to you many times, and you've either going to or just got back from some meeting with somebody in Frankfort.
Right. I got started kind of with that actually before I got into an elected position with some state organizations that I'm involved with, and so that has just carried over. And it doesn't matter, when I was mayor, there was a Republican governor and a Democratic governor the first time around. Today we have a Republican governor, Republican representative and the state senator, and I've worked with them over the years. We've you don't get everything you want, but
they know who you are.
But a few things, we got $2 million towards that streetscape project that came mostly from the state, but also from our Congressman Guthrie's office. And then last year we got $94,000 in discretionary money, which came from your old department, the Transportation Cabinet. I found out from Senator Heaton, again, that was working with Senator Heaton and Chad McCoy, that we were only one of 2 cities outside of the major metropolitans like Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green that got any discretionary money. And that was $94,000 is about 20% of our paving budget. Yeah. So that freed up $94,000 to use. We used that money towards the Wilson Industrial Park. And that freed up $94,000 to use on our regular streets. We're working right now with the federal government for a $1.6 million grant on this sewer project that we're working on, but that goes through the state first. Yeah. And so we're working there with them. And so it's important. As a matter of fact, Wednesday night, I'll be going to a meeting. I've invited Senator Heaton and Representative McCoy to join me and Bill Conway at a meeting in Louisville with some businessmen from Central Kentucky, and they both have accepted, and we'll be at the meeting and we'll talk. I know we're going to talk about taxes and the impact that's had on a lot of sectors of the economy, but other things, upcoming legislation. And so I feel like when it comes to service, it really doesn't have to be partisan. It can, although it is quite a bit in some ways, but I think at the local level, I think we're doing a pretty good job of keeping it clean and working together to make it good for everybody.
Well, I know a few years ago you were mayor once before and had a little health scare. Everything going pretty well now?
Yeah, that's been not oddly enough, but it's been 8 years.
Yeah.
So I'm in good shape. I go back still and see my doctors regularly. I did have some sinus surgery a few months ago. Same doctor that I dealt with back then a lot, back 8 years ago. And so everything is in good shape there. And I go to the gym when I can and walk with my wife as much as I can. So I try to stay and I try to eat well, and I don't have bad habits like I don't smoke, I don't drink, and
well, you might as well work then.
That's why I got time to work 2 jobs.
Well, is there anything, like I said before we get out of here, you need to say to the voters I haven't asked you, or something you want to say?
Well, I think my record speaks for itself. I think when I came in the first time around, I followed what I consider some good mayors, ever from Dixie Hibbs and Bill Brown, but I inherited the worst recession that had ever been since the Great Recession, the worst recession in your lifetime and my lifetime. It hit us in 2008 and carried over to 2009. But that's where our planning paid off, because the stimulus money became available. And that's where we were able to obtain that $2 million to help with our streetscape project. So we navigated that difficult time. And then I think we had a strong record of accomplishment back then. Then taking over last year, again, it was a very difficult time with the city, and I think our relationship with county government and maybe perhaps even in Frankfort and other places wasn't as good as it could be. I think we've done a good job of patching those things up. The city and the county is never going to agree on everything, but I think we respect each other now and work together when we can. And I think I'd like people to look at my record over the last years that I've served on the council and as mayor. And I think if you'll look at that, you'll see that I'm someone that does it because of my passion for the community. I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the recognition. I've had plenty of recognition for other things all my life. I do it because I care. And I will say that it's certainly been one of the greatest honors of my lifetime to serve and have the people elect me to serve them here at the city of Bardstown. And I would appreciate your support on November 6th. Thank you.
All right, well, Dick, appreciate you being here today. I know you've been
Thank you,
busy
Ken.
and you're doing a lot of things and taking the time out to stop in here, but I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much,
All
Kenny.
right, stick around November 6th. He did repeat that. We'll repeat that over and over all the way up as we do ask you to vote, as we like to see as many of you to get out and vote as possible on Election Day, and that's your day to have your voice heard. Stick around, a lot more to come here on Channel 6 TV. We'll be back right after these messages.